Hello, this is Dom from Black Toad Studios and welcome to part 6 of Do You Want to Build a Warhound? In this series, obviously, we are documenting the build of my Chaos Warhound from Forge World. And on this episode, we're going to be looking at the base of the model. It's kind of a key part, I believe, on this model. It might not be big and expensive as the rest of the model. However, it's going to bring it to life and what we've got planned for it and the gradual steps of what we're going to document in this episode. So I can keep talking about a base, but let's go and have a quick little gander on what we're going to be doing today. So we've seen it before, but this is the base we're going to be using for our Warhound Titan. So it is a foot in diameter, so 300 millimeters, 30 centimeters or 12 inches, depending where in the world you're from. It's 15 mil thick, so it's got a fair bit of thickness there, and it's got a rounded edge there, as you can see. So I've kind of experimented already. I've already said this in previous videos, but accidentally ordered the wrong size originally. So this is now being used to kind of have a bit of depth on here. We've used a bit of excess green stuff that I was using for other parts of the Titan, and that's just been put in here. We're going to go for like a ruined effect here. First off though, we're going to try and seal this MDF. So what I'm going to use for this is going to be a watered down PVA. So just your standard PVA, which is looking a bit like this. We're going to water it down and then we are going to paint it on to the base. Now, the base has already had some pins in there already, but what we're going to do is we're going to remove the Titan. We're going to remove this bit here and then we're going to coat it with PVA. And then we're going to start the process of basing it. So first off then, we're going to probably draw around here so we know exactly where we're going to be. This is going to be key. So we're going to kind of draw around here. I'll be doing that off camera. And then we'll go through the PVA process. Right, so here we are. Just a note here, when I was putting this in here, we didn't use glue. I've actually put a couple of tacks in. I think one's under there, one's there, just to keep that in place there. We didn't really need any glue. We had plenty of nails from pinning. So over on the left here, you can see I've watered down some PVA, and we're just using it really to seal this base. I'm not worried too much against these marks. These are really going to be for the basing material to make sure that it's got a clean adhesion there, but we're just going to coat this because the main thing this is doing is when we're going to be undercoating the base, this will kind of seal it up, so it's not going to absorb quite as much paint as it normally would here. Definitely got a lot of PVA here, so we're just going to go through. Especially on those edges there. Make sure that's done. And of course we put some bits of paper down there, really just to make sure we're protecting the underneath here. And there we go. Beautiful. Right, so we're going to let that dry and then we're going to come back and see what we've got. PVA is now dry on this base here. We've had a bit of super glue in here just to make sure that that pin doesn't go through. You can see the outlines of where the Titan's toes are going to be going, because we're going to try and keep these areas bare as much as we can. Obviously there's going to be a bit of paint that goes down, but essentially we're going to try and keep this bare because we're going to have to glue it in. And obviously we've got the green stuff that we've used previously. There's going to be more green stuff added. However, let's have a quick look at the items that we're going to be using as basing material. So here we are. These are some of the bits we're using. I think most people have this. If they've got an area where they do hobby, you kind of accumulate these bits over time. So we've got bits of building here. What we've done is we've tried to cut it up as much as we can, try and break some of this down so it doesn't look like a solid part. So you might see a few holes drilled in here with my little pin drill. It's cut, twisted. Clippers are perfect for this because you're really just trying to demolish it a bit more, just so it looks like it's being thrown around. As we're kind of thinking of basing this, what we're going to start is with the larger items and then work our way down. So these are going to be the larger items for the base. And so like here, again, we've just really kind of just like snapped this in half. We've twisted the bottom there, and we've got a bit more there. We're going to probably a little bit more damage up here on the top. And then got these other ones which are still kind of bent, which I think is quite cool, and another bit here. So they're the larger items. Let's have a look at some of the other little bits we're bringing to this base. Right, so we've separated these into 4 different parts here. So these parts here are more distinct parts with a little bit of detail on there. So these can be parts of the building blocks of the larger ones that become kind of torn off here. So we've got a bit of a drum there. And this is kind of just also stuff, like I said, stuff from the bigger parts that I've kind of ripped off. We've got a little bit of vehicle here. Just add a bit of character onto the base as well. And then we have the small kind of filler stuff, which kind of goes with this as well. So this is just from a normal hobby store. Just a bit of like cork kind of stuff to add a bit of depth. We also have lots of bits of off bits of sprue. So you can see here where I've started doing this part here. So you just got to kind of break down the shape as well, because obviously that looks very much sprue-ish at this point. But what we wanted to kind of do is just break it down even more and just bring them as little bits of girders possibly, or other parts of the structure. And then finally you've got the little bits of narrative that you're going to add in here. So the idea here is that we've got the larger building with some ruins in here, and these parts here just show where probably loyal PDF forces have just dropped their guns and fled at the sight of this warhound stomping towards them. And that's really what we're going to be using here. So let's have a look as we start to add the larger parts of the terrain to the base. So here we are at the moment. We've kind of positioned ourselves with a couple of bits here. So we've got this building down here. So it's a bit of an angle. So I'd like to think it was like maybe part of a tower at some point. So the bigger part's going to go here. Now remember, the outlines are here at the moment where it's going to be going. This part's going to be like just ruined a bit of debris here. At the back here we're going to start another smaller part of structure. So just for positioning purposes, I've put some blue tack on these just to put them in place for now. Get a rough idea where it's all going to go. Put that there. Oh, that's fallen over. We've got this part here that the Titan has been kind of standing on. So that's going to go here. Once again, the Titan is a big tool in itself when it comes to basing. So you get a pretty good idea where things are going to be going. So yeah, that's going to kind of go there. And at the back there, so it's a smaller bit of structure. However, I'm probably going to bend this bit round here. Maybe it'd be quite nice for it to come down, kind of pointing towards the ground. But roughly that's what we're going for at the moment. These are the bigger parts. So what I'm going to go off is go and glue these parts in place. And then we'll come back and start positioning some of the other parts here. But so far so good, I think. Right, so here we are. It's kind of getting there. We've got the bigger bits onto the base here. So we've added this bit on here. We're going to cut it up a bit more. This bit's laying there, just seeing what's actually dry. Over here, we try to bend this bit. Unfortunately, it's snapped. So we used a nail here, and we've kind of moved it into some sort of like, metal girder bit that's kind of bending round. And at the back here, we've positioned that building there. So we could have added more bits in there. However, the remaining bits, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them up a bit more and use them for the next stage. Is adding those medium character bits in. And then we're going to use for the really like the light debris and then possibly the narrative bits after that. So let's have a look after we've added some of the more characterful bits onto this base. Right, so here we are. As you can see, it's slowly taking shape here. So I've added some green stuff around the edges here, just going to smooth it off. We've added some more character bits in here. We've got some more bits kind of bit along here as well, just kind of slowly adding it up here. Little drum, as you saw the angled drum there. We've got part of this building here is just fallen down here, so it's kind of like, as I picture it now, there's going to be enough earth around here, the actual basing material as such, and hopefully it's kind of maybe try and put some little marks in here where people have run across it, and just kind of just thickening it up slightly. So before we add any of the narrative bits, we're just going to kind of add some more little bits of debris and just kind of slowly building it up here. But I can definitely see it taking shape. So let's have a look what's next to add onto this fantastic base. So here we are. We've done a little bit more. We've added some more green stuff in and some small bits of detail. So we lift this up slightly. Ooh, here we go. So as you can see here, we've got the feet markings here. So you can get a rough idea of where it's going to be positioned, but it's starting to look pretty cool here. So we've added the small bits of kind of debris in here. We've added this little front feature. So it just really kind of got some green stuff and kind of made a little mound here. Bit of falling debris landed here. A couple of other little bits chucked in here. Most of these are kind of offcuts from sprues, which we've kind of removed as much detail as we possibly could from them. So they look just like generic bits of masonry, really. Over here as well with the drum, we've kind of added more here. And this is going to be covered with basing paint or basing material. There's the standard Sterling mud that you get from Games Workshop. And that's just adding a bit of depth here. So it can kind of go up the slope. And then we're going to be painting in some of these other bits here. So I've added this in here. This is starting to look really good, especially when you get the Titan legs on there. So if we have a quick look now, we put the legs on. It's quite hard to show at this angle. However, you kind of get the idea that when it's in roughly like this, and you tilt it sideways, it's starting to look pretty cool, I think. Especially when it's all painted up, it's going to look pretty impressive. So we're going to add in the small diorama parts. And then we are going to spray this bad boy. It's the first bit of painting we're going to be doing. So let's have a look to see what we look like with the diorama parts added in and a spray. So here we are. We have added the small narrative bits in and we've given it a big spray of black. It's still drying, so it's a little bit tacky at the moment. As you can see here, we've got an autocannon emplacement. We've got a rogue las gun. Really, in retrospect, I should have shown you these bits before I undercoated it. Over on this part, we have a pile of Cadian helmets, or guard helmets, depending what you want to think of them as. And we've got a couple of las guns with a water bottle kind of stashed there as well. So essentially it was a guard position, quickly abandoned as a Chaos Warhound goes stomping through. For this I used Chaos Black spray, mainly because it had it at hand there. So this is pretty much undercoated now, and we're going to move on to the next fun bit, which is going to be painting it soon. But that's for another video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one so far. I've definitely enjoyed putting this base together because it's just coming together so nicely now, and I personally can picture what it's going to look like when it's painted. So that's it for now. So there we go. Hopefully you guys can see what I've gone for with the base. Really looking forward to painting it. I think it's really going to bring it all together, hopefully. In the next episode, we're going to go into the beginning painting process of the Titan. And we're going to see what we can kind of do, and hopefully gradually it's all going to come together and look quite impressive. But until then, my friends, this is Dom from Black Toad Studios. Take care.